Welcome to Super Showdowns, the ultimate destination for epic battles and legendary showdowns. Join us as we put iconic superheroes, villains, and mythological figures against each other in thrilling matches of strength, strategy, and skill. The multiverse trembled like a vast living organism sensing its own impending death. Stars flickered as if holding their breath. Galaxies drifted in anxious stillness, and the cosmic winds whispered of a shadow that had risen beyond the edge of all known reality. In the shimmering heart of the source wall, the silent sentinels of creation turned their stone faces toward the wounds spreading through existence. The anti-monitor had returned. For eons he had slumbered in the fathomless depths of the antimatter universe, his essence rebuilt from the scattered remains left after the last great crisis. But now he was awake, and the hunger was back. Worlds blinked out of existence in rippling waves, erased not with fire or fury, but with the cold, soundless finality of antimatter annihilation. Entire civilizations, trillions of lives ceased in less than a heartbeat. No screams, no ashes, only nothingness. Even the most ancient cosmic gods felt the pull of dread. Across the vast gulf of time and space, in a golden chamber orbiting the heart of a living sun, another being stirred. Kal-El of Krypton, no longer merely Superman, but Superman Prime 1,000,000, opened his eyes after centuries of quiet contemplation. He had spent 15,000 years within Earth's sun, bathing in its nuclear heart, until his body and soul were a latticework of infinite solar power. His once blue eyes now shimmered with the light of 1,000 dawns. His very heartbeat echoed like a distant starquake. For decades he had watched silently from beyond mortal perception, guiding reality with the gentlest of touches. He had resurrected lost friends, nudged young heroes toward their destinies, and even reshaped dead worlds into gardens of life. But now, the universe itself sent out a call, a vibration so deep it resonated in the core of his near-immortal being. It was the kind of warning only someone who had become half-cosmic entity could hear. Existence was unraveling. He stood at the balcony of his citadel, the solar winds wreathing around him like molten banners. His golden armor caught the light of 1,000,000 stars, and the emerald glow of a 853 RD century green lantern ring pulsed faintly on his hand. Through its lattice of willpower and advanced cosmic tech, he felt the scream of the multiverse. Across infinite realities, gravity itself was crying out as universe after universe winked into void. A flicker of movement announced the arrival of the Guardians of Oa, or rather the projection of their collective consciousness. The oldest of them, Gunthet, appeared as a wavering blue silhouette. Kal-El, the voice intoned, trembling with an uncharacteristic unease. The anti-monitor rises again. He devours not merely worlds but the fabric of everything. Already 7 parallel Earths have ceased to exist. Superman Prime's gaze hardened. I have faced him before, his echoes, his servants. But if he returns at full strength, no wall will hold him. The spectre is diminished. Darkseid's avatars scatter. Even the endless will not intervene. Gunthet continued. You may be the only one who can confront him before the crisis becomes final. Prime turned toward the sun that had been both his sanctuary and forge. Once, long ago, he had been a farm boy from Kansas, a hero with limits and doubts. But those days were gone. Now he was the embodiment of hope, sharpened by millennia of solitude.
Hey you! Don't just watch. Subscribe please.
And yet, as he prepared to leave his golden home, he felt the weight of something he hadn't known in eons, responsibility laced with the faintest echo of fear. Far across the bleeding edge of the multiverse, the anti-monitor prepared as well. Within the cold abyss of the antimatter universe, his colossal frame towered over a sea of swirling negative energy. Black-armored and glowing with the sickly light of annihilation, he fed on collapsing galaxies. Each bite made him stronger, his voice a thunderclap of doom reverberating through unreality itself. He remembered the Kryptonian who once defied him, the mortal who dared shine light into absolute dark. To him, Superman Prime was not a savior but a challenge, a final course in his eternal feast. Let him come, the anti-monitor rumbled, his voice rippling through infinite voids. His light will be the sweetest to extinguish. Meanwhile, across the positive matter continuum, cosmic travelers fled through secret folds of space. New gods whispered warnings to their dying stars. The Guardians summoned every lantern core to stand ready, though many knew even their combined might as well be candlelight before a black hole. The phantom stranger wandered silently between worlds, gathering omens of the approaching cataclysm. Superman Prime crossed the threshold of the source wall, his passage bending dimensions. He moved faster than time, leaving trails of golden light across the dark seas of space. As he flew, memories of his mortal life flooded him. Lois's laughter, Jonathan and Martha's love, the hopeful eyes of every person he had ever saved. These memories steadied him, not as armor, but as the very reason he must stand once more. At the farthest edge of everything, where positive and negative existence kissed like colliding storms, the skies churned with violet lightning. Fractured universes spun like dying embers, sucked toward an expanding sphere of pure void. In the center of that impossible storm loomed the Anti-Monitor, a silhouette of endless hunger, his armor gleaming with the ruin of realities. Superman Prime emerged from a golden burst of light, the last sun of Krypton blazing brighter than a newborn star. His presence alone slowed the collapse for a heartbeat, a single defiance against inevitability. Across the void, the Anti-Monitor turned, empty eyes locking onto the radiant figure who had once dared to challenge him. Kal-El, the cosmic devourer, intoned, voice deep as eternity. "You shine still, but all light ends," Prime answered, his voice carrying across infinite night. "Not while I breathe, not while hope exists." Between them stretched a silence heavier than black holes. The multiverse waited, caught in the balance between annihilation and impossible salvation. Two titans, one the embodiment of eternal hope, the other the essence of unmaking, poised on the brink of a confrontation that would decide the fate of everything. The storm gathered, reality itself braced, and in that pregnant stillness, the first spark of their inevitable clash flickered, like the birth of a new cosmos. The silence shattered with a detonation that rippled across eternity. Space buckled as Superman Prime launched forward, his golden aura blazing like a miniature sun. The Anti-Monitor met him halfway, a living maelstrom of antimatter energy. Their collision birthed a shockwave that erased nearby star systems, as if they had never been, rewriting them into pure void. Time itself flinched. Chronal echoes spiraled outward, ancient civilizations seeing a flash of gold and black in their night skies, moments before those skies ceased to exist. Prime's first strike was a blur of impossible speed, a blow that could crack the crust of reality. His fist, wrapped in emerald green lantern willpower, struck the Anti-Monitor's chest plate with the force of a dying universe. Armor that had withstood the wrath of gods groaned and splintered, shards of black metal spinning into the abyss. Yet the Anti-Monitor barely staggered. Negative energy flooded the wound and knit it closed almost instantly. "You are light," the Anti-Monitor thundered, claws of raw annihilation swiping through space. "I am the end of light." Prime ducked beneath the colossal strike, countering with heat vision so focused it sliced through dimensions, searing an afterimage into the fabric of the multiverse. The Anti-Monitor raised a shield of pure unbeing, absorbing the beam and twisting it into an eruption of antimatter that surged back toward the Kryptonian. Prime met it head-on, his aura flaring to a blinding white as he absorbed the onslaught. The collision churned a billion-mile-wide rift, where positive and negative realities wrestled like wild currents. The lantern ring on Prime's finger flared emerald bright. With a thought he forged a construct, an immense lattice of crystalline will that wrapped around the Anti-Monitor's limbs like a cosmic snare. For a fleeting instant, the dark god strained against it, surprised by the strength of a single will hardened by millennia. But the Anti-Monitor roared, his voice a chorus of collapsing stars, and shattered the construct as though it were glass. Prime was already moving, faster than photons, striking from angles that defied geometry. Each blow carried the weight of a star's core, each kicked the fury of a supernova. The Anti-Monitor countered with gouts of annihilation, beams that erased existence itself. Whole swaths of the battlefield, planets, nebulae, forgotten worlds vanished to nothing. Prime danced through it, his golden aura dimming as he expended power at a rate even his near-infinite reserves felt. Why persist? The anti-monitor demanded, hurling a black sun of anti-energy. Hope cannot survive entropy. Hope, Prime replied, catching the sphere and hurling it back with a roar, is stronger than entropy. The impact detonated across infinite spectra. Fragments of antimatter spiraled into newborn stars as the positive matter universe fought to reclaim the void. The anti-monitor reeled, a chink in his colossal armor widening. Prime seized the moment, channeling 15,000 years of solar energy into a single focused strike. His fist became a living comet of gold and emerald, every atom vibrating with the power of creation itself. He plunged into the anti-monitor's chest, driving the blow deep into the nexus where negative energy met the physical shell. The Dark Titan howled, a sound that cracked realities and made dying worlds weep. Antimatter bled into the void, destabilizing the giant's form, but still he did not fall. In a desperate surge, the anti-monitor unleashed his full essence. The battlefield became a roiling chaos of unbeing. Even Prime's nigh-immortal senses faltered. Darkness closed in, absolute and hungry. The Kryptonian felt his form begin to unravel, molecules threatening to slide into nothing. For the first time in eons, pain stabbed through his endless confidence. Then memory pierced the darkness. Lois's smile, the warmth of a Kansas sunrise, the simple belief that no night was eternal. Hope was not power, it was purpose. With a roar that shook both positive and negative universes, Superman Prime ignited every cell in his body. He became a living star, a singularity of light. The golden radiance surged outward, overwhelming the antimatter storm. For an instant, the anti-monitor's essence was bathed in pure creation energy, the primal light of the first dawn. His scream turned from fury to shock as his form disintegrated, the void within him collapsing like a dying black hole. Prime drove forward, pushing that light deeper, until the anti-monitor's armor cracked apart and his core flickered to a dim ember. The anti-monitor lashed one last time, a desperate claw of nothingness that grazed Prime's chest and sent tremors through his body. The Kryptonian staggered, his aura flickering, but he refused to fall. "You cannot end me," the anti-monitor rasped, his voice fading like an echo across dead space. "I am the void eternal." Prime hovered above the collapsing Titan, eyes blazing. "Maybe, but tonight the void sleeps." With a final burst of will and solar fury, he sealed the anti-monitor's essence in a sphere of Green Lantern energy, reinforced by his own solar core. The prison sank into a dimensional fold beyond the source wall, locked where even antimatter could not reach without eons of recovery. The battlefield quieted, what remained of space began to heal, stars rekindling where moments ago there had been nothing. Superman Prime floated in the silence, golden light dim but steady, chest rising with slow, deliberate breaths. He had won, but barely. His reserves were scarred, his energy spent to the very brink. One more instant of hesitation, and the multiverse might have been lost.